Monster has an airdrop game going on, whatever that is, but that's actually why they were popping over the weekend. What else do we have? We've got Harvard's Bitcoin Gambit. And what's that? They just increased their Bitcoin holdings by 257%. Now, a lot of people are saying, why would they do that? Why would they? Do you really have to ask that question? What's our one rule? Not one, but what's our biggest thing here in this community? Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Now, I can guess that they probably increased their holdings by that much because Bitcoin is down by so much. Think about this. If Bitcoin goes back to where it was, around 125, right? They stand to make a greater than 25% return on their money. And because they're so deep pocketed, they can afford to wait. Now, how long do you think it'll be before they make that 25% of their money back? That's going to be the big deal. I can't believe that YouTube is not pumping right now. It's ridiculous. It wasn't streaming to YouTube, so I have another trick that I do to like restart YouTube. And I'd really like to understand why YouTube is not actually firing off. It should be. Oh, Vimeo, you people suck. I'm gonna have to find a new software company because Vimeo is failing miserably. It shouldn't be so hard. Because I can't see me. Wait a minute. I wonder if I go to YouTube and not Vimeo. Give me a moment. I just want to make sure that YouTube is actually coming through. If it's coming through, then we can continue the show with no problem. And it says I'm live. Yep. So something's going on with YouTube Studio, and I can't see the video in YouTube Studio, but I am live, which is good. I don't have to start the show all over again. That's a beautiful thing. What else do we have going on? So when I look at Harvard, I'm looking at they've got time on their side to be able to make that kind of investment. 257%, right? Was it 257%? And they're now holding 6,813,612. I'm sorry, of BlackRock shares, not Bitcoin, but BlackRock ETF shares. The value is about 442.9 million as of September 30th, last filing. Now, when I think about the ETF, same thing as Bitcoin itself. When I look at their IBIT ETF, I'm sitting there and I'm going, that's a 25% opportunity. Where else are you going to have that kind of opportunity with that kind of money playing around? Just saying. And they've got time on their side. So I'm just saying, in a year? Less than a year, they'll see that. Even if you said there's going to be economic strife, there's going to be economic struggles, whatever else there is, you have to say to yourself, wow, that's a short period of time relatively. Just saying. Just thought I'd put that out there for you. Peter Thiel's shocking move. He actually reduced his shares. He sold all of his shares in NVIDIA. So it makes you wonder, is he privy to a bad news report that's coming? Possible. Then he also reduced his Tesla holdings. That's a big deal. So I'm kind of like, that's not a cute look. That's not a cute look at all. But this is what's going on. And people are like, oh, he didn't give it's his money. Why are you looking for him to give a reason? Now, that NVIDIA drop, that is interesting. That's very, very interesting. So I'm wondering about that one. And I'm thinking there's a strong possibility now that NVIDIA could come out with a bad report or not as good as people expect. And I'm kind of like, yeah. So it could be I sold, I made my money, I decreased my risk, put that money wherever I'm going to put that money. And then on the other side, I'll wait. I'll simply wait. Not a bad idea when you think about it. Actually, you know what? Let me open up YouTube because maybe while I'm watching YouTube, I'll be able to see if anybody types it. Now, mornings, we normally don't get anybody. We normally don't get any chats or anything else like that, but I like to watch. I like to make sure that, that's what it is. That's what it actually is. So, yeah, I was right. There are no chats at the moment, which is okay. I won't cry too much. Oh, no. There was a chat. Zabak the Midget. And I would say, no, it's not game over. What else do we have? Kraken boss slams UK crypto rules for crippling user experience. Now, the idea is that the new rules from the FCA make it so that they're following U.S. tendencies when it comes to stablecoins. That's a major problem. That's a major problem. I have to do some research because what I find to be interesting, I wonder if Kraken is trying to be a bank in other countries. And that hadn't dawned on me until I looked at this article. So what do we have to do? Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Remember, they're not going IPO just yet. And we don't know if they actually will. So my question is, are they trying to be registered as banks in other countries and not just the United States? Wouldn't that be huge? So yeah, I've got to look into that. I've got homework. ARCA CIO Jeff Dorman rejects claims of Saylor's strategy in the face of Bitcoin declining, right? And on top of that, oh my God, Peter Schiff says that Michael Saylor is a fraud and the whole Bitcoin strategy thing is a fraud and has challenged him to a debate. And I'm like, number one, Michael Saylor's mad smart. I'm not saying that Peter Schiff isn't smart. I'm just saying Michael Saylor's mad smart. He's mad smart. So, and also, I don't know that I would want to get into a debate with somebody who's a naysayer for the sake of naysaying. Right? Peter Schiff does not like crypto, does not like Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. Why am I going to give you a platform? Why? I'm kind of like, yeah, no. Michael, if you do, I'll watch, but I will not be upset if you go tell that guy to go kick some rocks. Just saying. That's kind of the way I look at it. Right? Stablecoin panic could be, I'm just reading the news right now. I didn't have time to take all of my notes, but these are the articles that I'm capturing. Stablecoin panic could upend ECB policy. Dutch Central Bank governor warns. Dutch Central Bank Governor Olaf, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, warned that if stablecoins falter, issuers may be forced to liquidate their reserves. Yes, that is a risk. Now, just to put things in perspective, so if the underlying fiat has a problem, you might be forced to sell off. Huh. What do countries do? You see where I'm going with this. So if there could be a problem with, issuers having to sell off, okay, they have to sell off their reserves. And so to me, it's kind of a double message, right? That is a risk. And what's the other part? Oh yeah, they shouldn't be forced to hold reserves in the necessary fiat. Maybe a percentage. But the same way you want them to hold reserves is kind of where I'm saying, well, maybe we shouldn't force them to hold that particular reserve, because the foundation of digital assets is the fact that fiat is failing, and if fiat is failing, you see what I mean? So I don't know that I would want to make a stablecoin issuer hold 100% of their reserves in a given fiat. I would want them to hold it, spread that risk out, and hold a few things that are pretty much liquid, right? So yeah, but I can understand the alarm. Just a little, maybe just a little too much over the top with this. But I fully agree that countries around the world need to revisit what fiat is and what they're doing with their fiat. And some people are sitting there going, what are you talking about? Well, countries fail when their fiat fails. And we're seeing countries right now that when their fiat is failing, they're turning toward what? Crypto. Because it's not controlled by their local government. If you look around the world and you look at fiat the way it is, a lot of people are just saying, yeah, we don't trust you. That's a massive problem. We don't trust you. We don't trust the management of fiat. And we definitely don't trust you with the management of our money. I know people in the United States are saying that, and I'm pretty sure people around the world are saying that in a lot of countries. So, yeah, that's a massive problem. Like I said, remember, in the United States, there's a massive problem when it comes to fiat and its management. Same thing in the UK, Italy. Just look around the world. There aren't that many safe havens where you can say that fiat is doing fine. Not that many. And if you can't say that, that means you have a problem. And if your country is in debt and you're holding that debt, what happens if the perfect storm happens? You need to sell that debt. And when you do, it's bad for that country. All at once. Just dominoes. So yeah, I think countries need to rethink what fiat is, what fiat does, and what that reaction is going to be in the new world with a new kind of financial system. Everybody's hot on stable coins right now. Everybody wants their own stable coin. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, people are going to look at stable coins the same way they look at CBDCs, the same way that they look at fiat, controlled by a given government. Doesn't matter that some private company has issued it. It's controlled by a private government. Yo, what's going on, Riser Than Most? That's cool. That's cool. That's a cool name. So you start to realize, holy moly, there's a lot going on there. And welcome, by the way, because I've never seen your name before. Same with, I've seen Zabak, though. I believe I've seen Zabak. So yeah, you start to realize, ooh, that's not a good look. And, Hutanik said it the best. There's a rebalancing going on. And yeah, there is. And it's happening like all over the place. I don't know what you mean by this stuff takes too long. I don't know what that means. So you got that going on. Japan economy sees a 1.8 GDP drop in Q3. They're actually thinking about a stimulus. They're thinking about a stimulus. While they're thinking about that stimulus, Japan on track for crypto tax overhaul as Bitcoin nears financial product status. See what I mean? They're rethinking what fiat is. Japan has also got JPYC, which is, their CBDC. Or that's one of the stable coins, and they're contemplating their own CBDC. I have not a lot of faith in CBDCs. But the way the laws are being written, it's kind of like, well, you don't really have to come out with your CBDC because you'll control as long as they're operating within your borders, you'll control every stable coin that's based on your fiat, which means you'll treat it like your fiat. And you'll force upon them to eat the debt that your country has. Oof. Excuse me. Think about that. Oh, now I know what you mean. We're all waiting for the profit. I'm just saying, sometimes you got to bring it back a little bit and just relax. Relax. The only issue that I can see is a lot of issues. There are two things that I do. I keep a risk list or risk register. I also keep an opportunity list. And I weigh them to see what the future is bringing me. Right? Am I seeing risk? There are certain political risks that have happened, political risks that affect our bags. I was talking about this yesterday. So if you didn't catch it, go watch yesterday's show. That's actually some good stuff. Black Beauty Machine, that's what's up. Yeah, I love investing too. I honestly believe that in order for us to survive, we're going to have to invest. Saving is not enough. Don't believe me? Look at how many people out there have second jobs or have a little side hustle Why are they doing it? Because they believe that they either need it to live or they need it just to have a couple of extras. Think about that. That's huge. That's huge. I don't know anybody that doesn't have a little side hustle. I don't know anybody that doesn't have a side. I know a lot of firemen. One of my best friends is like a brother of me. All of his boys have a little side hustle. All firemen in New York City have a side hustle, or just about all of them, because of the kind of shifts that they have. So when I look at, people needing to have, a side business, I'm not talking have a side business just because they want a second house. I'm talking about people having side businesses just because they'd like to have, maybe a hamburger instead of tuna. That's what I'm talking about. Wow. Gary, Bitcoin runs the show. Use small coins to gain quicker. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been. Bitcoin, I wouldn't say runs the show, but Bitcoin is completely different than the rest of the altcoins. Absolutely different than the rest of the altcoins. That's the big deal. And because of that, I will absolutely, if I want to increase my value, and this is where people get it screwed up, I'm going to explain it to you guys again. I'm not necessarily interested right now, not to say I'm not interested in money, but I'm not interested in money per se. I'm interested in growing my value. Hear me out. So last week I made off of Aster about 49.5% uptick. It's pretty cool, right? But that would be, if you're thinking about it in terms of money, you're like, oh, wow, that's really good. No. I increased my value. That's what I'm interested in. How quickly can I increase my value? So when I look at Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin's got a 25%, possibility going back up to this all-time high, right? And then you sit there and you kind of go, oh, snap. Yeah, you're right. It's 25% basically from here to the all-time high. Give or take 25, 26, maybe 27%, whatever. Call it 25%. That's awesome. But when Bitcoin rises, look at altcoins. Their value increases much more than that. So my math is, although I want to grow my Bitcoin, and I do, I sprinkle. I practice my DCA, not a problem. But what do? I use altcoins to increase my value, then I move that value into Bitcoin because I will grow my value faster with altcoins. And by altcoins, we mean, anything not Bitcoin. And I do my own research. I got lucky with Aster. I happened to be looking, and I happened to be sitting there looking at the charts and stuff like that, and happened to see a pattern, happened to see that it set a pattern. That's it. Right? And I'm like, yeah, no, I got to pay attention to mine. Gary, correct. To me, the idea is do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That's the whole point. And a lot of people don't get that. Pakistan is risking $300 billion in crypto gains amid a cashless economy push. That's no joke. And they have an emerging digital asset industry. That's why they're risking it. But I don't think it's a risk. Other people will look at it as a risk. I don't. I absolutely don't. I look at it as who's using cash anymore? I mean, yeah, I keep a couple of bucks of cash in my house just in case the lights go out or something like that. Because cash is king, when things hit the fan. Because it's the one thing that people can count on. But that's changing. That's changing. And then you start to realize, wow, how do I measure all that? There are a lot of new names that I haven't seen before. Holy moly. Yo, the morning is popping. Holy moly. There's Fert, The World Above, Gary Wald, Jerusalem Next, Zabak the Midget. I mean, these are all names that I'm not 100% familiar with, and I have to thank all of you. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate you. Greatly, greatly, greatly. And this is a mad, fast growing community. This is one of the few communities that you'll actually come into where we're actually trying to give a lot. Usually when I'm talking about my notes and I'm giving news and everything else, I've written the article. The article exists. I have a whole bunch of articles I haven't published today. I'll get to it later, but the articles exist because I do my notes. And you'll see it sometimes. Sometimes I'll flip over to the other screen to share my screen, and my notes will be sitting there. So that way you know I'm not full of it. You see my notes almost every morning. You'll sit there and you'll see me flip over to the other screen. Oh, let me get my notes out of the way, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's me doing research. Doing your own research, knowing your entries and exits, and absolutely investing deliberately. That means you have to be absolute in your decision to invest deliberately, not FOMO. That's what that is. That's what the GMB3 is all about. Wrote a book on it. Just saying, wrote a book on it. What else do we have going on? UAE Bank launches digital payments card and tokenization platform. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to the Middle East, but you really should be. Everybody thinks United States, Singapore, UK, oh, those are the big, maybe now you'll start thinking about Hong Kong. Oh, those are the big areas for finance. You better wake up and start looking at the Middle East. They've got stupid money. Dubai, UAE, just Saudi Arabia, just on and on and on. Right now, I believe it's Saudi Arabia that's looking to buy Warner Brothers. Yeah, a lot of people just choked on that. JPY bonds going up, reverse CSR, I don't know what that is. Oh, reverse carry trade brewing. Yep. Absolutely. But I'm telling you, you better be paying attention to the Middle East. The Middle East is going to become not just a hub where you can find buckets and buckets of money for them to invest. No, I'm saying they're establishing themselves as a financial hub. That is what is huge. When you look at what's coming, you have to say to yourself, wait a minute, well, where are the financial hubs around the world? And those financial hubs in the new world are not necessarily where you think they are. Now you understand why I say you've got to do your own research and you've got to do it every day. You can't skip a day. Like I normally don't do shows on Saturdays, but what do? I'm still doing my research. I'm still at it. I'm just saying, you should definitely think about that. Cardano, fat finger fail. Yes, somebody had a $6.9 million bag and then they fumbled it. During a transaction, they lost 90% of their bag. Now you know why I keep saying, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That middle one, know your entries and exits. A lot of people think that that's, you got to know how much, at what number you're putting your money in and what number you're going to pull your money out. That's one. What's the other one? Oh, you probably don't realize. It's how do I buy? How do I sell? There are different routes that you can take to buy and sell. And that's what you have to pay attention to. There's so many things that you have to pay attention to, and you have to be on top of that all the time. I have been at this for way longer than 10 years, right? And I got to tell you, when was it? I want to say like 3 years ago, I burned $500. Burned $500. And you have no idea the new slang, the new cuss words that I came up with when I saw it. Now it's $500, 500 hard-earned dollars that I was trying to maneuver. And what did I do? The most basic of mistakes. Don't send your crypto to any other wallet that isn't based on your crypto. Yeah, I did that. Yep. And I sat there and I was like, ugh, and I was in such a rush. I'm an old geezer, and you could tell me, you can tell I'm an old geezer. So I normally do take like a $5, $10 thing, and I'll test my route again. Every single time, test my route. Boom, 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 boom. And that one time I had not tested my route. I don't mind losing, $5, $10. I try to keep the number as small as possible and then see, well, did I do that right? Oh, I did? Okay, boom, I can do the rest now. Know your entries, know your exits. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. Now you know why I wrote the book. Just saying. What else do we have? The correlation shift between Bitcoin and gold is now Bitcoin and the tech sector. So let's go back to the beginning when I was talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA, and Peter Thiel, he dropped all his holdings of NVIDIA. And does that foretell something bad to come? Well, if the tech industry takes a hit, the crypto industry is going to take that hit along with it right now because they're correlating. That means they're moving at the same time. Which means I would expect gold to do better because you're going to see that, that flight. So you start to realize, holy moly, this is a lot. Wow, I'm freaking loving this. So many names that I haven't seen before. Oh my God, I feel blessed. I absolutely feel blessed. So yeah, that's right. Knowledge is power. Absolutely. Knowledge is power. I keep telling people that you have a lot of talking heads out there, and this is what makes our community very different. I have a whole bunch of people that, we have a whole bunch of members that will come up and they'll be like, oh, you might want to look into this. I did my research on it. I made some money on it, blah, 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 blah. And we share information like that. We share different strategies. We share ideas about where we can buy, where we can sell, how we can buy, how we can sell, right? Why have I been talking about Aster so much? It's not because I'm shilling Aster. It's because I was able to identify a trend. Aster was trading in a band, and it was just going like this. In a down market, it was just going like this, giving me volatility. How do you make money? When it's volatile. So I watched it a couple of times, and then it went down again. I bought. Sure enough, went up again, sold. Went down again, bought. Went up again, sold. Went down again, bought. Went up again, sold. And this weekend, I just made another 10%. I could have made more had I been paying attention and had I put more money in, but I was like, no, I'm going to stick to my strategy. I'm not going to put more good money after bad because I'm not willing to lose that money. I'm willing to lose the money that's there. I'm not willing to lose more. That other money is doing stuff for me. And people will sit there and just go, yeah. Aster, A-S-T-E-R. I can't bring up the chart right now because I'm not done with news yet. Give me a minute. Chill. We don't need that news. A16Z backs arcade tokens as a future of digital economies. Yeah, meaning here's an arcade token. You use that token so that they don't have to worry about building up other tokens, and that's how you maneuver around different economies. Yes, go do that research. Venture capital firm A16Z has identified arcade tokens as a vital mechanism for driving sustainable digital economies. The firm explained that those tokens could transform user engagement by offering stable, spendable value within digital economies. Unlike speculative assets, arcade tokens, they're specifying arcade tokens, maintain stability, enabling users to access specific services without exposure to price volatility. So this coin could be going like this, but this coin's kind of going like that, smoothing out that volatility. And in certain things, like maybe you want to run a business, something like that, those economies, that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to pay attention to what they're saying, because at some point, crypto is going to not go like this. It's going to go like this. It's going to be easier. Look at Forex right now, foreign exchanges. Fiats, they're so old, they're going like this. It just so happens that certain fiats, when they make a move like this, it's like, oh my God. And that's what people are paying attention to. I try to pay attention to it as much as I freaking can because there's so much going on. Straight up. Now, let me see if I can. Know what we should do? That's right. We should go over the numbers. So as we go over the numbers, let me start from here. Close that. And I didn't have my logo up. You guys didn't tell me I didn't have my logo up because they steal your video when you don't have your logo up. That's painful, but you can see my face. So Dow futures basically flat, up 19. Implied open is up 19. S&P futures implied open up 18. Nasdaq futures implied open up 116. Wow. That's the tech sector. So am I expecting a little bit of a bump for crypto? Yes. Only because of where it is right now. Oil up 0.05, US 10-year down 0.029. Earnings this week, like I said, let me just click on this week because that would be smart. Nvidia's coming out, Walmart's coming out, Home Depot, Intuit, tax company. Who am I? Retail, TJX companies, Deere and Company, Lowe's companies, more retail. I want to find out, are people still DIYing their stuff? Don't know yet. Who else is coming out? Williams-Sonoma, retail. Amer Sports, retail. Warner Music Group, that's going to be interesting. Retail, because I want to know how much AI is affecting the music industry, because you have a lot of quote-unquote new artists that aren't really new artists. They're AI. Just saying. Putting that out there for you. BJ's, retail. So you've got a lot of stuff. Aramark, that's the company that's going around, takes care of most of those, most of the luncheonettes and everything that you see in office buildings, stuff like that. They're much bigger than that, but that's one of the examples of their business. Luckin Coffee, BJ's, like I said. So there are a lot of companies that I'm paying attention to that are coming out with numbers this week. We should start seeing new numbers from the Fed. We should start to see from the BLS September's numbers for jobs. We shall see. We shall see. Fear and greed index is at 14. Yesterday was at 10. Super extreme fear. There's a saying, when you see blood in the streets, even your own, invest. That was me. I mean, I didn't coin that phrase, but I'm saying that's what I was doing. I was doing a little bit more than my normal DCA and my normal, sprinkle. I have two sets of wallets. I have my trading wallets. I have my hodling wallets. My hodling wallets, I sprinkle. That's my DCA strategy, sprinkle. My trading wallets, I go hog wild. Some of these wallets have the same coins as these wallets. But this right here is specifically geared to play with volatility. And we can get into, different strategies that I have for buying and selling and all that good stuff later on. This morning is, it's too much. Total value locks all the way down to $125.948 billion. We're a good $25 billion off of where I like us to be. Bitcoin, looking at my chart, look at that. You see this band? We haven't been down in this band in a long time. A very long time. That band goes from 93,434, which is the current floor. We busted through that right there, all the way up to 99,655. We happen to be on an uptick right now. But my floor right now, and I called it the other day, my floor is 93,434. We established that floor a long time ago, and now it's back in use. And I showed this the other day. See all these bands? All these lines, when you see a band, that's when Bitcoin was actually demonstrating that it was trading within a certain space. That's me identifying that pattern. And we traded laterally for a really long time. But I save all these bands because eventually you're going to revisit. And here we are revisiting. Hopefully this stays as the floor and we've pushed off and we can go up. But it's going to be a battle to get beyond 99,655. Just saying. Then let's see if we get this to show up properly. I'm looking at this big board. Who do I like? Of course, I'm liking Bitcoin, BCH, BNB, ETH, XRP, Sol, if you're into that kind of thing. I don't touch anything that Justin Sun touches, which means you will not ever catch me touching anything like Tron or anything else that he touches. Won't happen. What else do we have? ADA, SUI. For argument's sake, for some people still like DOT. There's nothing wrong with the DOT network. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's just older and not as sexy as some of the newer ones like SUI. And that's why people are kind of down on Polkadot. It's got great tech, just saying. Avalanche, Doge, Link, Uniswap, Aave, SHIB. Yes, I still love SHIB. Hyperlink. Leo, if you do your own research, you might be able to pick out a pattern there. HBAR, Ton. XMR is another one I love. Ondo is still something I'm playing with. So there are a whole bunch of coins out there that I actually pay attention to. My man Max Salas, what's up? What's good? What else do we have? Looking at the big board, and you can see who's not in the green. Year to date. You notice how I look at the year to date. Why do I look at 1 hour, 24 hour, 7 day, 30 day, 60 day, 90 day, year to date? Why do I look at those? Because it gives me the rhythm of a coin. I say this all the time. At least once a week I say this. It gives me the rhythm of a coin. What happens when I understand the rhythm of a coin? That means I start to understand and start to identify if that coin is giving me a band, giving me a track in which it is playing in. I'm down basically over here, I'm up over here, and I'm maintaining that band for a little while. There's money to be made when the market is going up. There's market to be made when the market is going down. There's money to be made when the market is stagnant. You just have to do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. You gotta pay attention to that. You gotta pay attention to that. I can't do the research for you. I can be one of your sources, but I can't do it for you. And that thing that you call your gut, my gut said not to do this, my gut said to do that, my gut, that's your subconscious working faster than your consciousness. Write it down. Every time your gut tells you to make a decision, write it down. We're not necessarily tracking if it was right or wrong. We are. But what we're really tracking is, how does your gut actually think? Your risk framework is your gut. It's the documented version of your gut. So that way you're not guessing as to why you want to make a decision. You can actually, if you write down all the times that your gut told you to do something, you'd be able to see the pattern in your decision making. That rounds out your risk framework and how you think about things. Do your own research. Part of that is understanding your own habits, your own thought processes, how you think in certain situations, how you react in certain situations. Make note. Make note, no matter what the decision is. I gave the idea yesterday that I want to know, my gut says, I really want that ice cream, but my gut says don't have it. Interesting. Why did my gut say that? Well, my guts, my intuition, it's my everything, it's my guiding light, right? And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have had that, and later on that night I had fettuccine Alfredo, and earlier in the morning I had, my cereal, as an example. So cereal, then an ice cream cone, then fettuccine Alfredo. That's not going to work out well for my stomach. So my gut was kind of like, yeah, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Plus, I'm fat, so I don't need that ice cream cone. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, drop a note, drop a like, tell your friends about this community. We're about a hair away from making 30,000 just on YouTube alone. Imagine 30,000 subscribers. That's 20,000 in less than a few months. Earlier this year, we were at less than 10,000. Then we hit 10,000. Then we hit 20. And we're about to hit 30. We've got a different kind of community going on here. And I want to see you in it. Everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. I will fight for that every day. I'm not going to BS you. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to be right all the time. I'm not going to be wrong all the time. I'm human, just like you are. The cool thing is that this community is a safe space for people that are interested in investing, not just in crypto, but investing in general. That's what we talk about. Ask a big bagger. We have big conversations in the big bagger meetings. We hold a video conference call once a month where it's the big baggers, and we talk about what are we doing, how have we done it, how are we tracking, what new coins are we paying attention to, what are different strategies and things like that. And it's not just about crypto, business, real estate, stocks, bonds, options. We're talking about all things investing related. Anyway, everybody, I'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Crypto Overflow, and that's when we're really going to get into it. Everybody, thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.